more risky the decision is, because it's less shared responsibility.
And the longer it takes.
Mhm. And that's one of the problems we have in state government, all the way from school boards to the legislature. They talk everything to death, and then there's so many of them making the vote, they don't have to take personal responsibility for it.
Well, the bottom line is, if this doesn't work, you're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's pure and simple.
Two out of three vote. A month from now, if you think I'm going off on a tangent and not doing things right, and you just bring it right back here and resolution
Mhm.
to relieve me of duty.
And we've all seen that happen. I mean, I can tell you the state government.
Well, look at Valley County, there's just 5 of them, they're a mess. In fact,
They're a
one-
real mess.
Yeah,
And they have a mess.
yes, yeah,
And do they have a chief administrative officer?
I don't know, that's a good question.
I say carefully, I don't believe so, but they've got 5 commissioner form of government.
Resist the quitter, it
Mhm.
speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And their treasurer is being investigated for fraud and embezzlement and lack of work being done.
Who had a very close relationship with at least one of the commissioners. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that part.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot one of the major things I was going to say here, and that is, Franklin, my goal here as your chief administrative officer is to turn this government around from reactive to proactive. I will do my absolute best to make sure that nothing surprises you, that you're well informed before something happens where you have to make a decision on it.
And the one thing, if this goes, that I would request is that he be on the agenda every week with a report,
Yeah.
every single week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what you've been doing and why, so to speak.
And in the beginning, I would also request a closed-door meeting concerning personnel at least once a week. Because we'll be talking about certain employees and it can't be public information. But a very close working relationship in the very beginning when we deal with personnel problems.
And if there's serious things come up, and there will be, not just on personnel, but on whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I would expect a call for each one of us
Yeah,
to know what's going on.
yeah.
I will say this about the MCA. Each board may adopt a resolution defining the qualifications, duties, salary, and responsibilities of such persons. I do think we need to follow the resolution process,
Mm-hmm.
which precludes us from being able to do anything today. Plus, it's a working meeting, which precludes us from being able to make an official vote today.
Okay.
But what I would suggest is, again, I'm recusing myself, but if you guys are interested in moving forward, we can have a resolution drafted, and even by you, Roger, with those specifics, qualifications, duties, salaries, and responsibilities. Have it advertised in the paper and then brought forward in the correct process.
Okay.
I think that's fine, because we still don't have to do it that way.
Right, there's certainly changes that can be made,
Exactly.
but it gives a starting point if this is the direction
Right.
that the board decides to go.
And I like that too. Again, excuse my tenacity here, but I really want to get to work.
Yeah.
But we've only got one member of the public who is informed on this at this point, so.
Right.
He is a well-informed man.
Yes.
Well respected around here.
Mhm.
And as far as our issues, some of our more in-depth issues with HR, I think that those need to be also handled in a closed door. because there will be violations to individuals' rights to privacy in that conversation. But that would give, you know, you or anybody a more clear view of what some of the issues are. I would suggest this if, you know, if there are any hesitations with any idea posed, I think there needs to be some alternatives posed. You know, Doug's come forth with ideas, I've come forth with ideas, Jim Nyes was here with a proposal. I think we need to have some counter proposals, not just, no.
Okay.
And I think that's a fair request. We're three people with good brains. We need to be throwing out different ideas, discussing those ideas, and countering those ideas so that it is a full buy-in of the entire board.
I would agree.
Yeah, I agree that way too.
I'll quit drinking so much caffeine and wait patiently.
Not with the caffeine, no.
Well, if there's nothing else, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for coming forth.
I do appreciate it, and we'll just go from here.
Sounds
Good.
good, yes.
And I will see you next Monday.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna go home, finish some greenhouses I'm doing for my deer bride.
All right.
Wonderful.
So are they gonna have flowers or vegetables?
Vegetables. Last year she came to me last fall and said, "Where's the wheelbarrow?" I said, "Well, it's around the corner." And I went on with what I was doing. But what's she doing with a wheelbarrow? A woman only weighs 100 pounds dripping wet. If she's moving rocks or stuff with that wheelbarrow, I better get out there and find out what's going on. No, I walked around the corner, here she comes with a wheelbarrow full of fruits or vegetables from her garden. She was using a wheelbarrow to harvest her garden.
Wow.
Good for her.
And she'd do that every morning and then spend the whole entire afternoon canning and
Huh.
dehydrating
Good for her.
yeah.
Wow.
We've got a cold storage room in our new home that is completely full of canned vegetables, and
Did you build that house or was it built already?
we built it. I was the general contractor on it. Never again. Got in over my head.
Did you?
Yeah. Thank God that the framing contractor was a good friend of mine, and I'd worked on houses he had built, John Quigley.
From Avon.
Yeah. And I finally just handed the project over to him and said, "I can't do this. I don't have the expertise." And it turned out to be a beautiful home.
John Quigley's cousin is a former sister-in-law of mine,
Oh,
Sheila Quigley, married to Jim Buckley.
Oh, yeah.
small world, isn't it?
It is a small world.
Okay, well, I've taken up enough of your time. Again, thank you for your consideration, and I'll go finish my caffeine and try to be patient.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks, Roger.
Roger.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, you either need a new briefcase or you need to sort through that.
I'm gonna start throwing a bunch of stuff away. I just had all that stuff there just now.
That's, my car is full of paperwork, Commissioner,
Yeah.
paperwork. One of my plans this afternoon, to get part of it out of there.
I have lots of stuff. I'm gonna put
Do you
through.
folks check his references out? I guess that would be a foregone conclusion.
Well, I'd have to.
From what I hear, I think he's a fairly responsible person. I just don't know him at all.
Well,
Right. And that's the hard part is,
he's done too many things to, that's my idea. I mean,
What if I think maybe somebody knew Rick Hill for one thing. Just-
I know Rick really well, baby.
I think he'd be
You know.
honest, because he's a supporter of Broadwater County because it's.
Bride is.
Chris,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Just-
or again, you're right, it needs to be checked out.
And that's,
And-
that would be certainly something we would have to have somebody else do on our behalf.
And I know Jim Rice real well.
Okay, see, there's,
Um, Joe Mazurek and I, like I say, grew up a block apart
oh my God.
as kids.
Right.
Amazing to me how many people that he mentioned that I knew so very well. Kind of a little story on Jim Rice. Not this time, because he's running right now, but time before, must have been 2 times before. It was his first time running, and he was a wreck. I kid you not, that day he called the office, Elaine, do I have an opponent yet? No, we'll call you. 5 to 5, the phone rings, I said, who do you want to bet it is? And right at 5 o'clock, sure enough, Jim again, when he was here for the Republican dinner, I said to him, so who are you gonna call? Now, I'm not there to answer your question this time. I think that we need to check these out.
Mhm.
I personally don't have any problem with calling them. But if it should be somebody else, that's fine.
Well, maybe that would be good. Since you know them, you can ask very in-depth questions. Yeah. I think that'd be fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably, want to find out as much as you can.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the fact that he's got such extreme experience, it's the trend today. It's, 100 years ago, you started with a job, you continued through that entire job until retirement. And that was the way things were done, and it looked good on your resume, which you didn't need because you stayed with the same job your whole career. Today, staying longer than 3 jobs, or 3 years at a job is actually seen as a negative on your resume, because what people want so much are people who are very well-rounded, have a lot of experience, and are thinkers. That is the number one requested talent from new employees, is the ability to think. Just a change in the times, but I think a well-rounded resume like this can be a plus to the county.
Well, when you were talking about an HR person, I was just in my mind thinking you're gonna have to spend 40 to 60,000. And if you can get 2 for the price of 1,
Yeah, and aren't HR needs.
and you evidently feel you need the HR person, I don't know about that, but evidently it's been discussed, and,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mako's been on our case.
Mhm.
Get
Yeah,
an HR person and get him now. It wasn't, when you get around to it, it was
Yeah.
now.
mhm.
And we all know it's a Sue Happy world. It flat out is. And so we need the insurance to cover our backside.
Well, may the force be with you.
And I apologize for putting you on the spot.
No,
That's
I'm
a
happy to
question,
do that.
but I thought, this is a little.
I always have an
more
opinion, it may not be
Right,
right,
yeah.
but I always have an opinion, so. I'm gonna borrow this, or if I get.
Yeah, absolutely.
thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks a lot,
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
It's noon already.
I know, my tummy is hungry. Anything else you guys want to discuss?
Right, I don't,
I think we're fine.
Okay,
I wanna go get on the phone and see what I can find out.
yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
I
So-
have to kinda be upfront and tell you, when first time he called me and told me that he was thinking of running.
You know what, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting.
Oh, okay. And he called and introduced himself.